It is 6 o'clock. Welcome everyone to the July 24th business meeting at the City of Smith Center. Has everybody had a chance to look over the July 10th minutes? Are there any additions or corrections to the July 10th minutes? There's a few bills running around here and all these vouchers been signed off on. Is there any additions to the three corrections to those vouchers? There's no additions to those vouchers or the minutes. I need a motion to approve both. Second. Moved and seconded to approve the July 10th meeting minutes and the payment of the rest of the bills. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Tonight we have on our agenda, we have John Terrell as our guest this evening. John, you may approach the council.
Good evening. I'm here tonight representing Western Plains. It has come to our board's attention that, first of all, we were notified by Mapes and Miller that they would not be able to complete our 2021 audit. Obviously, we're 2 years behind time with that, but when Judy contacted them about submitting the information for our 2022 audit, they informed her that they would not be able to complete the 21 and would not be able to do any audits going forward. At that time, Judy did some investigation into our HUD obligations, and it seems that because we do not receive an amount greater than $500,000 in federal subsidies to our rental rates from the federal government, we are not obligated to have a full-blown audit on an annual basis. Therefore, it was a determination of the board at our last board meeting that at this time we would move forward with working with Garen Coolman's office to do some monthly accounting for us, and we would move away from our annual audit that we have been completing for as long as I've been on the board. As a board, we felt like we needed to come to the council, needed to make you aware of this decision, and needed to gather any feedback you might have in regards to our decision, and if you had anything you felt like we needed to take, I needed to take back to our board for discussion.
Does this change your funding from HUD?
It does not. It does not. Again, it goes back to there is a $500,000 line in the sand, I guess you say. Nonprofit entities receiving less than $500,000 annually in combined federal assistance are required to submit owner-certified owner-certified AFS stands for now I can't find the AFS, but ultimately, because we do not have that, in fact, I think our federal numbers are right around $100,000. We're quite a ways away from the limit, but yeah, I think so, but that doesn't make sense. Nonprofit receiving less than $500,000 in combined federal assistance are required to submit owner-certified audited financial statements within 90 days. If you go back up above there, nonprofit entities receiving $500,000 or more annually in combined are required to submit electronic owner-certified unaudited AFS within 90 days, and then an electronic audited financial statement is due no later than 9 months after the end of the fiscal year. So audited doesn't make sense.
Will the Coolman office get you caught up?
Well, Judy presents. Judy does statements for us, income statements and balance sheets for us, and has always done that. We've then taken that information over to Mapes and Miller to look at it on an annual basis. Judy will continue to do that in addition to oversight from Garen's office in making sure that, looking over Judy's shoulder, so to speak. Yes.
But you're not required to submit it on.
No, we are not.
Questions, council? Anyone? It's for information only, John.
Unless you have something you request that I take back to our board.
If there's no action requirements, it's just the information. Appreciate you coming in. If anybody has any questions about this, it's really not a whole lot of control that we have over it.
Okay.
As a final oversight.
Right, right.
Other than that, it's nothing's in our hands.
Did they give you any indication why they couldn't do the audit?
Staffing.
Really?
Yeah. They just don't have the staff to maintain audits for entities such as ours, and they're going to focus on the municipalities and the school districts.
Well, so, but you don't need them, so.
Do they do the city's audit?
Yes.
That's what I thought. I thought that they did. And that's, they're getting rid of us so they can take care of you, so.
They are quite short-staffed over there. This last week, they had 3 permanent and 2 interim. That one of them has already been hired for a permanent position. She's a sophomore.
Wow.
At elsewhere. So, it's a tough field.
Anybody have any questions for John? Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks, appreciate it. Before we go into our ongoing with previous business, I'm gonna announce that we need to go into executive session after our governing body reports for the duration of 10 minutes, Jill,
Sure.
for non-elected personnel. So when that time comes, I'll remind everyone. In our previous ongoing, we have the water transmission lines update.
As you see in your packet, we have a letter from KDHE that we received on these transmission lines, these are the lines from Baylor running to the water plant that we submitted the pre-application for. We have been approved, selected for the KDHE 2024 intended use plan. If you look on that second sheet following the letter, we are rated quite high in probability. With a loan request of $3,800,000 with a loan forgiveness of $3 million of the total of $6,420,840. At this time, what we are looking at is not an agreement with the state as of yet. To start with, an agreement with Northwest Kansas Planning and Development to administer all of the backside paperwork, and those services are included as a reimbursement under that loan as well.
So their reimbursements built into it.
Correct. And it can facilitate those documents just as they did with the lagoon and the water plant. And Doug from Wilson and Company said that they can present their engineering agreement following the loan application approval later this year.
Any questions on this administrative consulting services? It shows down here, a total fee of administration work related for KDHE SRF will not exceed $7,500 an hour, which isn't very much for doing what they gotta do. We need a motion on this.
Yeah.
Council, we need a motion on this administrative agreement. Brady, you have any questions with this?
No.
Don, you have anything?
No.
Tracy?
No.
Dave?
No.
Chris?
What's rating number 28? That's our rating. What does that refer to? On that spreadsheet.
Good question. What questions about? He said this looks great for us being in this position. So I'm not sure what the rating scale is. It's not something that is sent with their documentation.
And this is for actually what? For the sewer plant we're putting in?
For the replacement of the transmission lines
Oh, all the way up from Gator's to Smithville?
coming from Gaylord to
Is
Smithville.
this the elder one of the
We
two?
hauled the other lines.
Huh?
We
These are,
hauled the other.
these are all
Yeah, I
of the
knew that.
transmission lines.
Both ones.
All every day, from there to the water treatment plant.
Our participation in this is about, what, 800?
You know, 3,800,000.
Yeah.
But
Our part.
That loan forgiveness is the 3 million above.
Yeah.
The 3,800,000.
Well, I think this is a win-win, fellas. This replaces a 100-year-old line.
And we qualify for this with that manganese buildup because the plant, of course, is within the date range. So we're trying to resolve manganese is the number one priority.
where does this manganese come from? Is it the transmission line? Is that where we're getting it from? Or is it from the wells? You don't know.
It's in the ground.
It's in the water.
It's in the water.
It's soluble, it's in the water.
It's in the water.
So this will not fix that, is that correct?
I don't know. It'll fix our building that we have in our lines. You see that plug that I have over there had 3/8 inch of barnacles on the inside of it.
It'll just start building up again.
Line one was from the 40s,
For that, probably.
And I think it was the 30s,
30s,
Line 1 was 23, it's 100 years old.
20,
the first one.
and 2 was 50s.
60,
65 or 68.
mid-60s, yeah. To 12 inch. The 8 inch was in 1923.
And is both of those ductile tile? Are they both ductile tile? So that'll go to PVC, which will help too.
Oh, yeah.
The buildup.
Yes. You won't get the buildup on the PVC like you do the ductile tile.
Just that black slime.
Yeah. Just the black color. Exactly.
All right. Who's in my water man? Trace?
Yeah.
I'll write this.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I need a second for this motion to accept this administrator agreement with Northwest Kansas Planning.
Second.
Moving seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
You want me to sign this one, Bill, or you got something else you want to put together?
Yep, that one's fine.
Sidewalk program is our next item of business. Who's heading that here?
Me again. Okay, some of the decisions to make, if you had a chance to look at it. Residential, commercial, both. A set amount per square foot with a max amount. A percentage of the total with a max amount. The city paying for the cost of concrete and the owner paying for all other materials and labor. And a max amount per street frontage. And following that, basis on a calendar year and a budget. Still in the transformation.
Like on the budget, say if first come, first serve, on say 20 grand. Is that what it is?
For the city total budget, I would like to do a program each year that's $20,000.
Yeah, so if somebody, so it's a first come, first serve.
First come, first served, and as is included, just like in the previous meetings, they have some of what the other communities do. Phillipsburg pays for the cost of the concrete with a max of 400 square feet of sidewalk on a single lot or 800 square feet on a corner lot, provided that both sides of the lot will be completed. And Russell does a 50% of the total project, capped at $750 per street frontage, or $1,200 for 2 street frontages. The 50% does not include labor or other materials other than the concrete. Belleville pays for the cost of concrete. Newton does $3.50 per square foot with a max of 800. Corner lots, 1,600. and on down the line, very similar.
What is the price of concrete right now? 1.5?
135 per yard to the contractor.
145
To
for contractor. So if you were to pour a sidewalk 4 foot wide and 300 foot long, how many yards of concrete is that? Quick, tell me.
What is it?
Say if you pour a 4 foot wide sidewalk, a block long, 300 foot,
How deep?
Yeah, deep,
2 before,
3.5.
3.5.
I think,
Isn't that,
does it state in our ordinance?
I think it has to be 4 inches.
4 inches, I believe.
That's close to
Put it down.
yeah, let's, let's see.
$4,800,
$4,800 in concrete,
4,800 square feet.
4,800 square foot. And a yard of concrete does how many square feet? Let me figure that here.
No, that'd be $4,800, what that'd be. 300 foot by 4 foot wide by 4 inches thick.
Be $4,500
No.
more than that.
just for the concrete.
It'd be 4,800 yards at $1.30, or at $135 a square.
So take 135 times 48.
$6,480.
There you go. 64. There you go. Do these other towns have a requirement on width and thickness of their concrete?
Yes.
Do they require rebar or wire mesh?
It has to be to city code.
Do we have a code on that
Then you're back.
in my packet?
It looks like it.
It looks like that. Come on, let's read that. What does it say?
Follows state statute 12-1802, which I think most communities do. Most of this, or part of this also addresses how a petition can be circulated for the city to force it to be done, which is of course something I don't want to do. I don't believe.
This is.
So everything's based on 12-1802, right?
Correct.
Not any of that. Council, what's your thoughts on doing some sort of participation program with the sidewalk program? Anybody go first?
There's quite a spread between Newton at $350 a foot, Elton River $150. To me, if we're gonna do some participation, it should be a percentage because that dollar amount's always gonna be a moving target.
True. Say pay for the concrete up to a certain cap. Say to allow, most people don't have a full block, but say $2,500 for concrete for residential. That would give quite a few footages, wouldn't it?
I think you'd be, sticking with the materials, doing like 75% of materials maybe for a household.
For residential.
I think commercial we need to look at too, because
I agree.
downtown needs help.
I don't see it in here that has the requirements.
It didn't have that in there.
It's just a-
It's
She
a
says,
statute.
it says the statute.
Yeah, just has the statute. We need to write up our own requirements. So if we want them X amount of inches thick and width and rebar, not rebar, or wire mesh or not wire mesh.
Is there any certain area of town that, I mean, specifically that you want this to happen, or is this just for everyone?
I think it needs to be open for application. Because participation, of course, they're going to have meet funding needs as well, some areas and some individuals that may not be able to achieve that at this point, but might be able to work towards it the second year or third year if it's renewed. Some of the areas are hard to pinpoint because we've got sidewalks in bad shape all over.
I'd like to push for Main Street, Kansas Street, and Court Street.
Okay.
But the whole town needs it. So. And even
That's
up,
kind of prioritize.
Is there grants available for this?
There are after we start. We have to initiate a program in order
Actually,
to apply for funding.
now thinking about it, up there between Western Plains and the grocery store, there are a ton of people walking on the street.
That's true.
Along the highway as well, but my hope is to include that in the grant
Yeah.
for an application for the curbing and gutter to add sidewalk at that point for the
Yeah.
highway. Along Main Street is definitely there. The safe routes to school we're already in, so we can incorporate some of that school to school and some of the main routes. But we have to have participation from the
Yeah.
landowners, property owners as well.
On a program like this, would $20,000 get us very far?
It's a
Other
start.
than a start.
It's a start. See how it's gonna work.
It's better than where we are right now. We don't have anything available, and there are people that have asked.
What I'd like to do is have a council member or two set up some guidelines with Rick on what they would like for specifications in a sidewalk, determine minimum width, and kind of go with the sidewalk itself to put in a ordinance. And then we can sit back and say, all right, we can say, this year, we're gonna start out with 20 grand, and then we can decide on however many dollars we want to give it out per household or per lot or per applicant.
You mean a maximum?
Yeah, put it in max. And if they have a big project, that's up to us to decide whether they can go forward or not. It's, just kind of work it case by case. Could somebody get with Rick and write up a proposal of stuff so we can put it in our program to move forward with this?
I'm gonna take Tracy fishing so we can do it.
That'd be all right, Jill?
Yeah.
I've often wondered where there are sidewalks in this town. It just seems like they're haphazardly and they were placed anywhere anybody wanted them to be placed. I don't know, we talked about city right away before. Some people have their sidewalks right on the curb.
That's what he said of town, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's others that, like when I grew up, there was the curb, there was a grassy little area, and then there was the sidewalk. And that was part of the right of way, and you couldn't do anything on that. Like those guys are down to the curb, if there's something, there's no room to tear anything up, I guess is what I'm saying. If it's right to the street.
If there's a water line or, I mean, it's still an easement, it's still the city right away.
But I would like the sidewalks to be consistent.
And that's what I'm thinking about, writing up our specifications on our ordinance.
You know, if I'm connecting with my my neighbor, our sidewalks better connect,
Right.
you know.
Exactly.
It's just gonna have to be a case by case thing, like Bryce said, because you're not gonna come in and put your sidewalk 25 foot back when your neighbor's just 3 foot off. the
Right,
road.
exactly.
You'll have to connect.
Yeah, they have to be connected.
And I think that's one of the things when they thought the application that's noted on there before it's approved is
Yeah.
making sure that that location is there.
And then we'd have to, and that's why we need to write up this thing, say, all right, we're gonna need to inspect your plan before approval.
So now we're gonna have a sidewalk permit, Joe.
Yep.
Don't you always want something to do?
Yeah, I'm always looking.
Well, I think it's a good idea to get programmed. We just need to lay it out to where it's not confusing and people can apply for it and get along.
So if we start this program, then we can apply for grants, or what do we have to do?
Absolutely. There's several different avenues. The state, of course, is the first one, but there are other avenues that qualify as well because of health, the ability for people to walk safety. I met with the LTAP manager a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago and tapped into a few more resources on safety.
A couple of years ago, the state made, I don't want to say millions, but pretty close for sidewalk renovation.
Yeah.
And Lebanon got it. Yeah,
When we were in the safe routes to school, that's what Elena Rasmus was working.
yeah. But there's a lot of towns that got big sidewalk.
Any more questions, guys? I'd like to do this in 2 steps. Let's approve the funds to do in this program for even 2023 with specifications to come with at the next meeting from Rick and whoever wants to get with him to set up the specifications to build them under.
I'll just write some up and then I'll go talk to all of them and see what they want to improve on it or improve on it.
Okay.
Be easier than us trying to get together.
Well, I understand that, and then we can approve those specifications next meeting.
Got to see what that 12-1802 says.
Hmm?
That state statute. Need to see what it says.
Comments on that program, doing that? Ready? Tracy?
Yeah.
David? Chris? Don? Let's someone needs to make the motion. Who's our sidewalk person?
Me,
Okay.
I would make that motion.
To use $20,000 available for 2023 with the program specifications to be determined in this meeting. Got a motion on the table?
I'll second it.
I have a second. All those in favor of the sidewalk program, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
And that concludes our previous business. We have here. Under new business, a monitoring well, and that is located at,
You've got a letter and an image in your packet from Milco Environmental Services. They are asking for the council's permission. We've got monitoring wells, by the way, in the right of ways all over. This one just happened to fall close to a council meeting, so it's great to be able to have you do the approval. As you can see in that image, we're looking in this general location, but then that well is going to end the best. They're looking at installation before the end of September.
now this monitoring well, what are we monitoring?
Well, it's for Trinity Ag, I would guess, the soil because of the gas tanks that were in the ground over at the old Peterson Industries on the west side of that lot.
Yeah.
Contamination of soil.
I thought they already took all that stuff.
They mediate, I know they've tested it and stuff, but I don't know.
And these go in and out all the time. No comment.
There's two at Subway. There's two at Subway, and they're twice a year testing.
That makes sense.
We have to give them permission to do this?
Yes, because it's in our right of way.
Oh, it's in, okay, it's in our right, that's right. Questions, anyone about this test full site? Whether they've been done? Nobody has any more questions on that? Need a motion to approve with no vote.
Second.
Then move second and to allow Melco to do a test well or right away. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under new business, does anybody have anything else to bring on new business? If not, we'll move on to our economic development reports. Danny, you may have the floor.
Right. We had a good turnout for our July meeting. Corrected minutes from our May meeting, and then reviewed financial reports. We had 4 program applications and funding proposals. The first one, Jacob and Darian Cobb presented a jumpstart application for the Cobb Pro Inspect LLC. The board supported that application at $5,000. Jacob did abstain from voting on the application.
Questions, anyone? Don? Chris? Dave? No. No. Tracy? Brady?
No.
Need a motion to approve the 5,000 for the crop program inspect. So to approve the 5,000 for the crop program inspect. Second. Been moved, seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried.
Raquel Boxam presented a residential revitalization grant application for her home at 115 West Francis. You can see the projects there. The board approved that grant application for up to $3,000.
Is 115 West Francis the house you built?
No, that's the house she lives in.
Questions, anyone on that one? Brady?
Nope.
Tracy? Dave? No. Chris? Dawn? Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Been moved, seconded to approve the 115 West Francis grant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, our next application is a residential cleanup grant.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, our next application is a residential cleanup grant application from Steve Bortz and Bruce Lehman. They are proposing to grind out and remove tree stumps around the trailer at 303 Elm Street. That project was bid out at $2,000, so the board approved up to $1,000 for that project.
Okay, questions, anyone, Don? Chris? Dave? Grace? Brady? No? Yes?
No.
Need a motion to approve the $1,000 for 303 Elm?
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Our next action item was a funding request for new Smith Center banners. Ariel and I have been working on this for almost a year. We're hoping to be able to get this project over the finish line by Old Settlers Day and replace all of the blue banners that line Main Street. Ariel was able to get a Schrader Foundation donation of $2,500, and we proposed to the Economic Development Board the remainder of that up to $5,000 for the 50 banners And then the board had some discussion about making sure that we had enough banners to put a few on Highway 36 as well. And so they approved up to $3,000 for the new banners. We are working with Mike Saft on a design that will utilize the color and design of the Smith Center downtown sign that's up on Highway 36, and then create a little more consistency down Main Street and down the highway.
Questions, anyone? Need a motion to approve? I need a second. Been moved and seconded to approve the down signing program for economic development. All in favor, say aye.
Including our housing and recruitment team members. You'll note that we have a bit of a struggle getting quorums in our committees, and so we had 3 action items with regards to the committees. Last year, they were authorized until July committees, and so we had 3 action items with regards to the committees. Last year, they were authorized until July of 2023, so we wanted to extend them as well. So the first action item is to remove Bridget Hall from Applequist and add Dana Stacy and Dana Jean and Shannon Rogers to the Smith County Workforce Recruitment Team. Do you want these all together?
We can break them out like you have them here.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions on that? If not, I need a motion to approve. Second. Second. Then moved and seconded to approve that first action items to do what you just said. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried.
We then discussed the housing team committee members. The proposed team members are Raquel Boxam, Elena Hughes, Jamie Isom, Dana Jean, Dana Stacy, Nick Rhodes, and Melissa Westbrook. After this motion carried, Elena Hughes asked to be removed from the team or to step down from the team because of some additional commitments in her foster care. And so I would just ask that we appoint Raquel, Jamie, the 2 Danas, Nick, and Melissa at this time.
Are you going to look for another person to take her place?
We would like to, because having an odd number makes it a little easier to make motion or actions. So we will have 1 opening in that committee. But we need to get it down from like 13 people who are currently on the committee, because that quorum seems to be too large to attain. So,
Questions, anyone on that? Need a motion to approve? Need a second? Been moved and seconded to approve this action item with housing team. All those in favor say aye. Motion carried.
our last action item with regards to committees is to sync up this committee term with the supervisory board committee term. And so this would authorize the recruitment team and the housing team as committees to December of 2023, and then annually thereafter to coincide with the supervisory board terms.
The
Is that
board
in your
actually
bylaws?
attends the first meeting in January for the old business. Do you want that to run the same way? The ED board attends the first January meeting until old business is done, and then new people come in. Do you want that to be a re-up in January, like mid-January?
I wasn't aware of that requirement.
That it's appointed January, so Chiswick, the council and the other boards, they attend for the old business, and then as soon as old business is done, the new person comes in and takes their spot. It just, that way you don't have to change it twice.
That's new, but yeah, I mean, we can do that.
That's how we've always had it. For economic development, it's the same as city council.
Is that all right? Follow the same guidelines that we do.
I mean, yeah, I guess we want to get it similar, so.
Yeah, and that's what.
Yeah.
There's, well, is there any action items on us that we need to do on that? So they change their bylaws to match up with what we do?
Yeah, it's just informational.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
All right.
we're good.
The board did discuss the old business of the state mural grant award for the Beffert Building. The board got an update from Art on the progress on the project. I then shared a little bit about how we're running this project through the economic development accounts, because that's the way the state grant award is determined. And so Art and Linda are actually going to make a donation to economic development, and then economic development will then pay for the costs involved. That way we can clearly report everything to the state when we report out that state grant. So that's where the action item to facilitate the $75,000 or $7,500 grant from the Office of Rural Prosperity through economic development accounts, and to approve the mural design so that our economic development funds of $2,500 are released for the project.
Everybody understand that?
Do we have any idea what this is gonna look like?
We do, yeah. There's actually a picture that has been
Is that what's down at the bottom of the?
put on there. It's going to have a cow in the middle, and then on the right is going to be like a farming scene with several of our landmarks from around the area in the background. On the left side of it is going to be looking at soil health and advancements in soil health. The artist is Rick Gondara out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's originally from the Manhattan, Kansas area, and did the Eagles Building mural in Manhattan. He does a lot of tattoo and mural art, so it's very eye-catching, shall we say, and it will be very colorful.
Thank you.
So we need a motion to approve the $2,500.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the $2,500 for the mural project in the Beffert Building. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
For new business, I updated the board on a couple of grant opportunities, including the Community Development Block Grant that we had talked about here at the City Council already. There is a federal grant opportunity available to Smith, Phillips, and Norton counties to get people back into the workforce. So we're coordinating with those two neighbors on that grant opportunity. Joe Stansberry turned in his letter of resignation to Nick, and so the board approved that resignation from the supervisory board. Joe wants to focus on the Recreation Commission, as many of you know.
Need a motion to approve Joe's resignation.
So moved.
Need a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept Joe Stansberry's resignation from the Economic Development Board, or SEC. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Next action item is the Kansas Housing Conference. Because of our compliance with Heritage Townhomes, we are highly recommended to go to this training opportunity for the low-income tax credit program that's a part of. There are several other topics in the breakouts that conflict with the compliance sessions. And so I requested to the board that we spend an extra $400 in registration so that Dana Stacy can attend the conference with me, and that we could catch both of those sessions in the time frame. We do plan on sharing room and travel out there, so those costs will be the same.
We need a motion to approve that $400.
Consensus.
Our last items of action at the board meeting were regarding Heritage Townhomes. We talked about both physical and paperwork inspections, and we will get those inspection requirements completed by the end of July and then the end of August. The rehabilitation of 312B is starting. We were able to get funds from our reserve accounts from MHEG, up to $12,000. And then we approved last month $6,000 of economic development funds. And then the board approved $5,000 of the 2023 budget to be used towards the rehab as well. The withdrawal of those reserve funds from MHEG required that we start depositing, again, a $248 deposit per month into the reserve funds. So we need to start restoring those funds. The board voted to begin that September 1st. In order to do that, we had to raise rents for all of our tenants, and we set the rent for what 312B will be as well. So the tenants have been notified, and we are working through those changes.
So there'll be an annual inspection then?
There will be. Mhm.
Good.
Yep. Of all of the units.
Very good, very thorough, very concise. Anybody have any questions for Dana?
I meant to bring this up at the last meeting, but I forgot. Was in the bank, it's probably been 2-3 weeks ago now. And there was a gentleman in there talking to the girls. And he was just ranting and raving about the way our downtown looked and the way it appeared that businesses were flourishing and new businesses were coming in. And I overheard him and I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Stockton." I said, "Oh, I kind of understand." And he's the guy that does the Buffalo down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Hey, we'll find a spot for you." Because he's set up on Main down there, I guess. Well, I don't know. Well, I said, "No, think about it." Because he was very, very complimentary about our town. Very complimentary. Don't hear that real often.
I said long before, because, it takes a long time to change things.
Yes, it does. Just wanted to pass that. Like I said, I forgot last meeting. I was gonna do that.
Thank you, Don.
You bet.
Anybody have anything for Dana? If not, thank you, Dana. Very good job. Jamie, you may have the floor next.
All right, well, on the 16th, we had 3 teenage girls get in our swimming pool. Got a call, went up and got them out, told them to call their parents, got their information and stuff. I talked to Donna about, some kind of punishment for them.
Maybe a lifeguard.
One of them is.
One of
One of them is.
One of them was, and so Tabitha thought, and we could charge them, but Tabitha thought maybe, like a letter of apology to the city or something like that, and then the lifeguard, I told Donna she can maybe add some extra duties to her,
Stickers.
And the other thing is up there, there's no kind of like security light for the pool. We've got all those big lights, but we don't have anything over the pool, so if somebody does get in there, maybe the neighbors should notice, this is how I got called on this, the neighbor just happened to see him in there. I drive by there quite a bit and, shine light in there, but it would be nice if we had some kind of a security light
We
on.
don't have a street light and
I thought
There's a
there was
street,
a
there's a
light there
street light in
last year.
front, but it's burnt out right now. I got a hold of Brandon and having that fixed, but there's nothing out there, maybe in the middle of the lot or maybe on one of them poles or something, just another light out there. So there'd be a little bit of light shined on the pool, because it's pretty dark up in there.
Well, when we incorporate our new pool house in there, maybe we get some security set up.
So, but anyway,
Motion detectors or something, motion light.
but I had the girls contact their folks, and I'll get in contact with them. And if that sounds like a good punishment to you guys,
I was gonna say, so making them all the lifeguards would be good punishment.
So,
I think a letter, we talked about this and I
Yeah.
talked with Tabitha about it. I think a letter is a good deal.
that way we got something to kind of keep track of, what's going on with, because they're not the only ones in the pool, Donna talked to the lifeguards and she said there's other people, and I'm sure probably some of them are other lifeguards, but, just make sure somebody don't get in there and something bad happened to them, so.
I don't think I could get over the fence. Maybe under it.
Well, that's probably how you get hurt. Yeah, all over the fence again. But that's about all I have right now.
Okay. Anybody have anything for Jamie?
Jamie, we talked about painting on Main, a stop sign.
Well, or putting stop out there in front of our crosswalk. And
Right.
I haven't got a hold of anybody to see if we can do that. Now, I looked, and if you're coming from the north, I don't know the south, about on four-way?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the street, if we could.
I just had to stay with James the other day, and they're going to do stop signs or look at doing more stop signs across the side on four-way and also on 36.
Because down here on 204, if you go by it, we have a two-pole sign, the sign's huge compared to, because it comes down there and kind of dead ends, and I think that would help at the four-way stop if we had a bigger sign. And like I said, those things are, the ones that they have are 8 foot lettering, so it's just stop, goes out on the street
Maybe a
there.
little higher.
Yeah, and
And this is what we talked about, had Frank Conrad.
That's how you got that.
Yeah. And what we talked about, and while we were standing there, here come a pickup pulling a trailer and went right through it, coming from the south going north.
Well, you remember
From the north going south.
I was standing there a day talking to you about something, and had a gentleman go through.
And that's exactly right.
You know,
So what we're talking about is like when you pull up, there'll be there'll be not only the stop sign before the intersection, stop sign on the other side of the intersection on both sides.
They vetoed that.
They did?
They're suggesting you put a stop ahead sticker
On
painted in
the
road
street.
before
Yeah,
you get to
kind
the
of like
stop
the
sign.
railroad crossing down here. It says,
Oh, really?
and they're, like I said, they're 8 foot by 6.5 foot. So they're pretty good size. So you just put them in the lane of travel, and I thought we could just put them on all sides of the four-way, so.
We need to start putting something somewhere, because some of you, other than from Mount Kirkhoff, turn out very lucky. We're not getting killed.
Well,
These
you know.
SOBs.
John,
don't
you need
realize
rumble
that.
strips. It's the only thing that tells you that that there's a
But-
stop sign.
But the only problem is we go back to the rumble strips, and then we got that same water pocket and stuff that we fixed the
We
street.
don't need rumble strips.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we need to do what we can.
Anything that's logical, the state's not gonna be for.
So, but I'll do some checking and see what we can do, but we can buy those, they just roll on, they're reflective when they go on. So I'll check with that company and see how much, they would be, or we can have somebody, we got enough sign painters around here now, maybe we can get them painted on.
Could you put something outside the city limits that says something? I mean, where they're coming in?
No. I don't
Like
think-
when you go
We
into
do.
Holton, they gotta do it, it's got a speed zone and then it's got a flag. I mean, the state could put a solar pump panel out there that has stop ahead
We
or.
won't. They
It
won't.
won't, that's the thing.
We've
You
been
gotta
back.
understand that road getting in Holton, there's been a lot of people killed on that.
Oh, a lot of kids.
And that's why I think
And
they
that's
got,
the reason why.
yeah,
Well, is that what we need to have happen
That's
here?
basically what they said.
yeah, somebody's gotta get hurt.
Well, Laval Kirkhoff just smoked the other day by a truck running.
Well, he just went through that intersection about 5 seconds before he got hit and made a left-hand turn.
Yeah, John told me, he said, "You feel lucky?" Yeah, I was in Walmart in Concordia. He said, "Why?" He said, "You just missed that. They had me on the camera
Yeah.
turning east,
Turning.
and the next thing, bam, there it was." Of course, I said this before too. I think you just have to learn to be a defensive driver. I never take for granted those guys are gonna stop. And if they do, great, then I turn and go home, whatever. You're
Talking
supposed to stop. Well, if you don't, then
Tracy talking about the speed zone thing. Jill was looking, and there's a deal where we can, I think, borrow like a trailer that has like the speed zone sign that you can park in different places, just have to plug it in. And it tells you kind of like when you go in Walmart, by Walmart there in Hastings, it shows what your speed is. And we need to do something because we got them coming in from the south, and then up on 36, we've got them, you know, people from California and stuff driving 65 and 35.
I emailed LTAP Thursday, Friday, and asked any requests that we can borrow to help pinpoint this a little bit better. I have not gotten a response.
See what we can do. So,
We'll try.
All right, thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
Rick, do you have anything right for the council?
I have nothing for you this week. Next meeting, I'm gonna have quite a bit of stuff.
Okay, anybody have anything for Rick?
Rick, is the chemical solution in the pool, has that been worked out?
They shocked it with muriatic acid, if that's what you're asking.
I'm not-
pH,
Yeah, I understand the pH was way low.
yeah, they shocked it. Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night or Saturday night.
That's what the chemist said they needed to do, so that's what they did.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Rick.
The bulk water station, is it? I understand it wasn't working yesterday. You know anything about that?
Don't know anything about it. We had Heineken Electric work on that, and worked fine for 3 weeks or so, and then all of a sudden out of the blue it didn't work, and I haven't heard that it hasn't worked again.
It worked for about 1,200 gallons yesterday and it stopped. And the pump running light was just flashing.
Ryan was on call, so he wasn't here today, so I'll check with him tomorrow.
And I had a guy stop me about the lift station at the east end of town. Did they have quite a few alarms last week? Did you get that taken care of?
Oh,
Was it the same
it's hard
thing?
to fix it when it's not, that stupid alarm would go off, I'd get up there, hit the reset, and fix itself. So I don't really know what the problem is.
I just had a couple of people saying that, asked me if our city employees got alarmed, that goes off because they couldn't sleep. It was on for 5 hours, they said.
That thing is set up for high water, so it doesn't flood people's houses. And when the electricity goes off, that's the only two call outs it's got. The low water that's going off, it doesn't call me out. I gotta go by the public, call the sheriff's department. or
And he said
whatever.
it wasn't a big deal, but he just wondered if, he was just asking questions.
Well, Friday afternoon before we got off was the last time I messed with it. I don't know that nobody told me it went off this weekend, so hopefully.
I don't know if it was this
maybe it got-
weekend or last week. He just said it went off a lot.
It was going off last week a lot. I was up there.
Yeah,
4 or 5
that's what he
different
was
nights.
telling me. Is it the same problem we've been having?
We haven't had any problem until the last 2 weeks.
Was it wipes again?
Huh?
Were they wipes again, or?
No, I don't know what it is. It's the low water alarm. It's not shutting off when it's sucking down.
Oh,
It's not shutting off, so it's setting off the low water alarm, which means you can burn your pumps up.
right.
By the time I get there, it's fixed itself. The water level's coming back up, but you still gotta hit the reset, shut the alarm off.
I see.
So when I get there, I hit the reset and it's working right. I don't know what to fix.
Is that low water alarm sticking, maybe?
Well, it's a float.
Yeah, it's a float.
Yeah, I shook the living crap out of it Friday thinking it was sticking in there, and I'll change it out.
Huh?
I bet that's what it is.
Okay, that's all.
Anybody else have anything for Rick? Thank you, Rick. Jill, you may have the floor. Do you have anything to bring for the council other than what you had?
Just real quick, Rick, you're gonna get a phone call tomorrow at 5:19 tonight. I got an email from Cruz Newberry at Table Rock Alerting Systems, and he would like to coordinate the installation of the equipment. He is looking tentatively until he talks to you on Monday and Tuesday, the 31st and 1st. So I did inform him of your hours, so he would know
Okay,
best times to get in touch with you. And then we did have an injury at the golf course. And I will not go into detail in an open meeting, but it has been submitted to insurance. Hopefully, this individual is healing, but she was hit by a ball from someone teeing off that the visibility just isn't in that location. It was a pure accident.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Okay, anybody have anything for Jill? Don?
Nobody.
Ariel, do you have anything to bring for the council?
No, I don't think so.
Anybody have anything for Ariel? Tabitha's not here. Zoning board of reports, Chris is gone. Tracy, you have anything to bring?
I do not this evening.
Don, do you have anything to bring for the council?
I think the guys did a really good job of they ran off two baseball tournaments, the league tournament and then the regional tournament. And I think things went extremely well. My son came into town last weekend and went down the street and they weren't going to let him through because he wasn't going to pay. He said, no, I'm just going through. I'm not going to the game. But I think it went very, very well. We talked about the stuff at the pool. One thing about the pool that was brought up to me. There were some people that would like to have the schedule for the workers set up so the pool is open on 4th of July. They thought that was the day that it should be open.
We did not have enough lifeguards
I
to
know.
man the pool.
I know, but I mean, if you can, but there would have been a reason why we didn't have enough lifeguards. I mean, if they knew that was a work day, that might be different.
It always has been. We haven't usually shown.
No, I know. But I just think if they knew maybe ahead of time, they could make plans accordingly. That's all I got.
Dave,
I don't have anything.
Brady?
Nothing.
I don't have anything. I need a motion to go into executive session for 10 minutes, talk about non-elected personnel.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We will go into recess for 10 minutes. I got the clock here.
I'm going to the movie. You don't need me, do you?
What is it, Mission Impossible?
That'll be it.
That's like that free.
Come on, Margaret.